And here we go. Welcome back, everybody, to the Opinionated YouTube channel. Holy smokes. It's March 2nd, 2023, and there is so much going on today. I'm sure you guys have heard Alec Murdaugh is guilty on all counts, and he will face sentencing tomorrow. I'll be curious to see if anybody's going to read any type of impact statements. And I have to say, I feel awful for his surviving boy. It's terrible, and it's a tragedy on all fronts when people have to go through that. The family, there's the wife and son that was killed. This is now changed Alec's life. And the thing that's crazy about it is I'm sitting here today and I'm watching the verdict come down. I'm the verdict watch, and I'm trying to think, how do people go from being very successful people to committing crimes, committing murder, especially on their family? It's terrible. And even just to think this too, look at Alec Murdaugh was a family that was very high and prestigious in that community, of a legal team and being lawyers, and went a couple of generations through his family. They were very well known. He had a lot of money, a very nice home, a loving wife and children, and then just becomes corrupt with drugs, stealing money, faking a suicide, killing his wife and child. And then you look at the things that we've been talking about mostly here. Bryan Kohberger went through some struggles in his early life, and I will say this: he is still presumed innocent until guilty. But looking at examples like that, people that just are overcome maybe a drug addiction, they go off to school, have this brilliant mind, study, do well, get a PhD, and now you're in jail for allegedly 4 counts of murder and 1 count of burglary. It's crazy. It is crazy. I don't understand. Let's get to the chats and see who's with us. Teresa's with us. She said Thursday night with the Opinionated Idiot. V is here. He said guilty face, not guilty. So let's go. I got justice for Dan Markle in the chat as well. Kristen Brown with a $20 super chat. Give her a bell on that one. Thank you so much. She said she just got home and saw the verdict. A bet is the best. A bet is a bet. And then V says evil possession. Yeah. The mind is a very crazy thing. And you just sometimes gets overtaken by greed and drugs, and just not a positive way of thinking. And the thing is that you look at these things and you said, if you were feeling bad, if you had these thoughts or things that were going in your mind, maybe some counseling could have helped. Maybe some drug rehabilitation could have helped. Maybe talking to a friend or a family member. But I think what happens is it gets so crazy deep that the lies keep twisting, and then you're trying to find a way out, and the addictions kick in, and then it keeps spiraling out of control, and it just goes so deep. But we will get into it this evening. V says it makes them do it, and Teresa's thanking Kristen Brown for supporting the stream. I am thanking you all for supporting the stream. I know this is an off night for me, but there's too much going on to not get on here and discuss. We have the second part of the unsealed search warrant that we're going to go through this evening. And I'll tell you, it's a lot of stuff That just seems really sketchy. That was confiscated. BC says, we need a poll. Call it the like button or upvote button. All right, we're going to put a poll up for BC. Let's do this. Let's see. All right, we're going to start a poll. Should we call it the like button, or are we saying upvote button? Upvote button. Should we call it the like or upvote button? Let's see. Like. This is for BC. All right. Poll is up. Poll is up. We're gonna settle this. We're gonna settle this by the evening. So whatever you guys choose, the poll is up there. We're either gonna call it the like button or the upvote button. And that one's for BC. SC says yes, they're into deep. They're into deep and can't get out. It's so sad. Kristen says no problem. And Kristen is a channel member. I want to point that out. If you guys want to join and support the channel on a monthly basis, you can. I have memberships for just $2 a month, and all the money that you guys give to the stream goes back into the channel to create a better experience and keep this channel running. It costs me about $100 a month to keep this channel running. So if I can get my payout every month at $100, I'm good. So Dr. Bob's in the house. Good evening, Dr. Bob. Let's see. Kristen, I'm just checking the wrenches here. All right, Kristen's got a wrench. Perfect. Okay, guys. So we have a lot to go through this evening. Let me just check one more thing really quick. Yeah, I knew that was going to happen. All right, let's do that. Okay, on with the show. Sorry, got distracted. I promise. I'm back here now. Okay, let's do this really quick. We're going to bring up an article. Okay, guys, we saw it today. Idaho murders update. More Bryan Kohberger documents released in Pennsylvania. Knife, phone, and masks were seized. A Pennsylvania court sealed the warrant for 60 days. All right. Pennsylvania court has unsealed additional documents in the Idaho student murders case, revealing that police seized a knife, during the raid on the suspect's parents' home in Pennsylvania. And I have all of I went through and actually detailed it out because the writing was so hard to read, but we're going to go through the search warrant and we can discuss that. Pennsylvania State Police and the FBI arrest suspect Bryan Kohberger at his parents' house in the Pocono Mountains on December 30th during a nighttime tactical raid. Their search of the home, his car and garage, and the shed on the property. The new warrant reveals police took a door panel from his car, seat cushions, headrests, seatbelt, visor, brakes, and gas pedal, and a Band-Aid, maps and documents, and other items. From the house, police seized several weapons, including a knife and a Glock handgun with 3 magazines. They took a cell phone, laptop, a blackface masks, and as well as a black hat. The list also included a prescription and a green leafy substance. I wonder what that is. In a container, vehicle paperwork and other documents, including a phone bill and a handwritten password, and a book with underlining on the 118th page. Additional items seized on December 30th raid at Kohberger's parents' home included a computer, hardware, paperwork from WSU, where he studied for a PhD in criminology, a few miles of the victim's home, in a spiral notebook. Police were looking for anything that could connect Kohberger with the victims, including evidence he had surveilling them or compiling information. The 4 a.m. ambush attack killed the 4 a.m. It's going to kind of just go into the history here, but we already know up into this. I just want to see if there's anything else. According to the previous released court documents, police found a K-bar style knife sheath near Mogan's body and recovered DNA sample from the snap. And that's really, really it. But and then just talks about his upcoming date in court. So yes, another big break in the Bryan Kohberger case. Have you guys had a chance to read through any of the unsealed warrant? I'd be curious to see what you get. Also, let me know in the chat. I'm curious because I know that I've been wanting to cover Alec Murdaugh. Obviously, now the verdict has come out. It only took less than 3 hours today. I'm wondering how you guys felt about that case. Let me know in the chat. Did you feel he was guilty? Was he innocent or were you undecided? Myself, from what I saw, I felt that he was guilty. Right, as the evidence started coming out, the little that I was, kind of reading about the trial, just things didn't add up for me. He basically lied about stealing money. He lied about taking drugs. He lied about this murder suicide. Basically, everything that he did in his entire life was a lie. But he didn't murder his wife and kid. Just I don't know, just didn't sit with me, and obviously didn't sit with the jury as well too. But really, really interesting stuff. And V says, I think guilt by his face alone. Yeah, I think that what he tried to do was minimize his body language. You'll see a lot of people that maybe guilty will kind of sink themselves in. I'm sure he was coached, appear small. They probably wanted him to lose some weight because you noticed, when we first saw like video of him, he was a very heavy guy. This time around, seeing him in court, he was very skinny. Probably had lost 40 or 50 pounds. It was probably all by design to see small and meek, a weak guy, but very tactical, very cunning in his criminal mind, and the things that he did are unspeakable. But he's gonna go to prison probably the rest of his life, and tomorrow most likely will be his sentencing. SC says, I felt he was guilty from the beginning, and so did I. So did I. So did I. So before we get into reading the unsealed warrant, the search warrant, I want to play a quick video here that came up on, I believe it was the News Nation. It's not Banfield, but it's going to talk a little bit more about the search warrant. And let's play that, and then we'll go to the search warrant. We can go through it.
Getting a closer look at one of the search warrants in connection to the Idaho student murders. This one from Bryan Kohberger's parents' Pennsylvania home, garage, and car. Investigators seized more than 60 items in all, including a gun, 3 empty magazine clips, and a pocket knife. 2 knives, a Glock handgun with 3 empty magazines, along with a treasure trove of computers, hard drives, and handwritten notes. Just some of the dozens of items law enforcement hauled out of the Pennsylvania home where Bryan Kohberger was arrested late last year. A newly unsealed arrest warrant offering the clearest picture yet of what police were looking for in Kohberger's parents' house, what they found, and what they did.
That is, let me back up here. That looks like body cam footage. If you go here,
what they found.
Oh, I missed it. This looks like body cam footage. So I'm wondering if there's, because you can see someone carrying a flashlight or something in their hand. I'm wondering if there's that video out here and if it will ever be released. It probably will if it's, once it gets released out into trial. But I'm sure they have a very tight, they're really tight on that right now. But I definitely want to see
in
that.
Kohberger's parents' house, what they found and what they didn't. The
I
very
don't know if
first
that's
item
media
listed, a
footage of the
knife,
police
no
taking
manufacturer,
items, or if that's
manufacturer item listed, a knife. What they
and
found,
I don't know if this might be media footage here, but I'd love to see this video as well too.
and what they didn't. The very first.
Let me get to this chat really quick. Let's see. Kristen Brown said, I have a hard time believing someone who had everything to do with this to his own family, but the jury saw all the evidence and he is guilty. Poor Buster. Yeah, I feel bad for his kid. Dr. Bob says, the same night in the future, we should discuss a concept of reasonable doubt rather than guilty or not guilty. I agree with that, Dr. Bob. Thank you so much. And he says, agree, Dr. Bob. Wow, I really hope that's body cam footage. I would love to see it. Yeah, absolutely. Because I noticed that today. I was watching the video and I was like, there's got to be body cam footage of the search. I don't know if that's going to be released, but I mean, it seemed like the news had maybe some privilege to it. So it's got to be out there. Or it could just be a stock footage shot that the news station went over and just kind of took a camera and walked along to make it kind of look like body cam footage. But I don't know. I'd be curious to see.
First item listed, a knife, no manufacturer, description, or other details included. No indication if it could be the murder weapon that police are still believed to be searching for. A fixed blade knife, the sheath of which was left behind at the scene of the murders. A Smith & Wesson pocket knife taken from the house does not appear to match the description of the murder weapon. The warrant shows authorities were looking for any signs of blood, bodily fluids, or other DNA, like hair or fingerprints, but no such items were taken from the house. They were also searching for anything that may have belonged to any of the victims, as well as anything that may have indicated Kohberger was watching them or staking out their home. Police did seize four laptops, a cell phone, and several other electronic devices, along with dozens of articles of clothing. They also found, quote, a book with underlining on page 118, a green leafy substance in a plastic bag, black face masks, black gloves, and a black hat, which matches the description one of the surviving roommates gave to police, saying the attacker was, quote, clad in black clothing and a mask. Search crews also took, quote, a man's world drawing, a note from Bryan to Montana, and a note from Dad to Bryan. Investigators also tore apart the car
Montana.
Kohberger drove from
and that's the thing, though, too, is you have all that clothing. When they stop processing it, if they, you got to start wondering. They found a knife. Are we going to find any DNA on that knife? They have a bunch of clothes that they took. They're going to process that. Are we going to find any DNA from the victims on there? Are we going to find any blood or hair fibers? Are we going to find any connection to that article of clothing or any of those article of clothing being something from that house? Because maybe, sometimes these serial killers, they take trophies, So SC says, whoa, a note from his dad. And we're gonna talk about Bryan's dad, because this now is starting to make me wonder some things too. Let's see. Kristen says, I can't imagine he would have kept his clothes he wore that night. I think the car will be key. Yeah, but let's say you have that clothing. You don't want it in Washington. You want to get it as far away as you can from Washington. So what better time to do it? Take it with you when you go back to Pennsylvania. Stash it away somewhere there in your room, in the house, away from Washington. So if any shit comes up, and let's say 2 or 3 months go by and they come here, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have any clothing, blah, blah, blah. You're not going to, they're not going to find anything. It's now in Pennsylvania. So that's what I would think. Get it as far away as you can.
Washington State to Pennsylvania with his father weeks after the murders, hauling away almost everything inside, including seats, headrests, even the gas.
Still look at that face, man. That is someone that is scared. That is hiding something.
And brake pedal.
All right, let's bring in criminal defense attorney Richard Block. Richard, thank you for your time today. So we went through that list of items seized. The black clothing, the knives really stand out to me. Is there a high probability these items were directly involved that night?
Well, we certainly couldn't say anything about probability right now. We don't know if those were the knife, if they were the clothing, and obviously we have a long list of clothing that was seized here today. They're gonna be looking and trying to match that. I'm sure all that stuff is sitting at a crime lab right now, and they're going over it with a fine-tooth comb, trying to find blood, hair, anything else that might tie to that crime scene.
Absolutely. Well, some of these items, it's a little odd because the gun, full descriptions, manufacturer, serial number, but then there are other items. It just says knife or documents. And one that definitely stands out is what we had in that piece there, book with underlining on page 118. Richard, is there a reason some of these items would be described that way, almost to maybe withhold some of the specifics?
Well, that one certainly is an odd one. I couldn't tell you why they wrote book with underlining on page 118 and didn't give you the name of the book or a description of what type of book is, which they did in other places. They described what sounded like some textbooks and other things and notebooks and other places. Who knows on that one?
I mean, to be fair, that's two totally different people. So if you look at one search warrant, the other search warrant, maybe that particular individual in one spot is a little bit more detailed versus, someone in the other spot that's not as detailed. They're just kind of rattling off items of what they took. Maybe that's why it's not as detailed. So that's kind of what I thought when I heard this.
It could certainly be to hide it, or it could be something as simple as the cover page was ripped off and it didn't have a title on the top of the book.
Very good point.
Or
How
Etsy.
damaging
Etsy can
could this
call in.
evidence end up being
BC's
to his
great.
defense?
I love BC.
Well, I think certainly they're
Etsy can
looking for
call
two
in and give
things.
me her
Obviously,
account
here
of,
is motive,
kind of her Kohberger moment. I'd love to hear that.
and they're looking for any other evidence that ties
$5
into the
super
crime
chat
scene.
from BC.
Finding
Thank you so much.
blood on some of the clothing would be incredibly damaging, and motive would help with what is largely so far a circumstantial case and tying all those facts together. If they found some sort of writing that indicated his desire to commit murders or something like that, or that would certainly be potentially very damaging.
And what do you think? They took apart essentially the car, right? We know that they took the gas pedal, the brake pedal. Would there be some reason, though, to have kept the car intact?
Well, they're taking it apart because they're looking for anything that might be hidden inside of it. This is the kind of thing what we see often when cars are stopped for drug stops, that the whole car gets torn apart. Because in a car, most normal people don't realize that there are plenty of places to hide things inside a car where you wouldn't normally see them. So that's why they're tearing the car apart. They're looking through it for anything that might be in there or of course, they're also going to be looking for blood and other things that might be found in the carpet or underneath a latch or something like that in the car.
Absolutely. All right, Richard, thank you for that. Thank you for watching.
I don't mean to laugh, but I got to pull this up. BC says, if you think BK is guilty, hit the like button. If not, tell us what drugs you're on. We always presume innocence here until proven guilty. We're just going to make sure that we get that out there. Kristen loves it, but I understand. I get your joke. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. All right, guys, let's bring up the second search warrant. Let's take a look at this. I've been kind of waiting to dive into this all day. Let me kind of get this bigger. So how's that? You guys can see that probably a little bit better. All right. So Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, County of Monroe. There's some personal information here, but it's obviously been redacted. It's public knowledge, basically all out there. So let's see. Specific description of premises and or person to be searched. Obviously, they're going to seize anything in that white Hyundai Elantra 2015 bearing the VIN number and a Washington registration. I'm not going to read the plate and then the owner of the car, Bryan C. Kohberger, date of birth 3/21/94. So it's a warrant of application approved by the district attorney. It was signed off on 12/29/22. And it's basically the paperwork that we went through yesterday, what time they were executing the warrant, on what date, who was the judicial officer that oversaw it, signatures from that officer itself. We go into the police return of service and inventory. So just more legal information here. The officer that's making a return, the time of return, particular search. And I read through this stuff yesterday. It looks pretty much the same as the search warrant I read yesterday. All the particulars of things that they were looking for, but we want to get kind of down into the meat of the bone here, as they say. This here says, see attached FBI FD-597. I'm sure that's probably some type of document number or a case number that they're using. And let's see, copy receipt was left inside the residence. So the family does get a copy of what they seize of the search warrant, which I'm kind of dumb. I should have probably known that, but I thought it was like maybe a Hollywood thing, like sign the search warrant and then they tear off a receipt and give it to them. I guess they do. So, all right. So we have United States Department of Justice, Federal Bureau of Investigation, receipt for property collected and seized. I'm not going to read the address. All right. I've kind of deciphered this earlier, but I'm going to go through line by line. So number one, they seized a knife. We don't know what type of knife. We don't know what kind of knife. We don't know if the knife was at the home or was, traveled via car and was put in the home. Really quick, let me just bring this chat up. Kristen says, do you think them taking the whole seats, cushions, brake pedal, etc., instead of just a standard swab shows there was no visibility evidence anywhere? Well, you have to keep in mind, they know he cleaned the car. They know they cleaned the car. He cleaned the car. So, he had a couple of days up until when he traveled back to Pennsylvania. So they don't know if in between he was cleaning the car. But the thing is, if you're looking for DNA evidence in the testing that they have now, let's say 20, 30 years ago, when was DNA really became big in the 90s, probably right around the O.J. Simpson trial. That was really the first exposure that we really got to it. But I think maybe a couple years prior to that, 90 or 91, might be a little bit earlier into the 80s, maybe 88 is when it really became relevant in cases. And up before that, they weren't really doing that. They were collecting samples, but there was really no, firm testing on it. So you have to think, you're going to basically take apart anything where that human body has been. And I'm going to tell you. So you figure, sits in the car, you have the seat. If he has blood on him, that could soak into the cushion. What was it? The armrest, would you say? Brake pedal. So the brake pedal and the gas pedal would be if there's blood on his foot and he gets in and he's operating that vehicle, brake pedal, gas pedal, if there's any trace DNA or DNA that's been left on that brake pedal. So let's take that out of there. Let's take the seat cushions out. Let's take, the leather, if it's cloth. They're going to process everything. And I said that they're going to rip through this car entirely and swab and test. They're going to look for fibers. They're going to look for hair. They're going to look for fingernail clippings. Anything that can be processed is coming out of that vehicle. Did you see the Gonzalez attorney say the prosecutor is the one leaking information? I did not read that, but I did hear something about what was it? There was some debate if it was going to be what's the word I'm looking for? Xana's mom or a couple of the families that are involved, the defense attorney has represented them in legal cases before. And I know that the judge had to have a sidebar to basically, find out what information, they had in these cases, or if it was going to be like a conflict of interest. The judge said it was okay to go forward. But today, I think I read something that the defense attorney, her name slipped my mind right now, is saying that she never had any contact with Xana Kanodel's mom or any of these victims' families before. So I found that kind of weird, but I didn't see that. BC saying steering wheel threads, seat threads, foot, carpet, etc. It's all the places you cannot clean. Exactly. Those little crevices of everything, in between in your car where there's, plastic, the plastic dash, all those little crevices, they're going to get in all that. Okay. So we have the knife. We have a book with underlining on page 18. AT&T bill for Bryan Kohberger, a Glock 22 Gen 5 40 caliber, and the serial number, a Smith & Wesson pocket knife, folder containing vehicle paperwork. Let's see. I'm just going to scroll down here. An Acer laptop model number, and then it just gives you the model number. Green leafy substance in a green container. There's documents that were seized, a green leafy substance in a plastic bag. Gee, I wonder what all this green leafy stuff is. White paper with a password, a power cable, a cell phone, three Glock 40 caliber magazines that were empty. There were books that were seized, a black face mask or face masks, a prescription, black gloves, one black hat, and one black mask. We go on to page 2. Just look up. Yeah, masks. 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 Okay. Page 2. Personal identifying documents, New Balance shoes, and it looks like there's a lot of dark colored clothing. So you had a jacket, a dark jacket, another jacket, a couple of shirts, some pants, clear plastic glove, one Asus laptop with damage. That's interesting. One HP laptop with damage. This is interesting too. Oh, it looks like he probably wrote it twice, crossed it out, put it below, and then the clear plastic glove. What do we got? One HP laptop with damage, an application record for a sale of a Glock 22, Gen 5, 40 caliber, item photographed but not taken. Item photographed but not taken. So they found something in the home that they took a photo of, but they didn't take it with them. Why would they be one mask? Yes. And this is interesting that you're talking about this, because the thing to me now that I'm starting to think about, and I go back to the body cam footage of when Kohberger was pulled over in Indiana. And I find it interesting that his dad had that conversation with the officer about the shooting at WSU. And I'm not tying that shooter to Kohberger. I know some people are. Some people like, oh no, that was the kid that did it. He did, he was the one that committed these crimes. It's not Kohberger. They're framing Kohberger, or they think it's Kohberger. Maybe he had some connection, with this guy, or a friendship. But I find it interesting that, it's a long drive from Washington to Pennsylvania, and, knowing all this stuff that was taken and brought to the house, I just wonder if there was conversation. If I wonder if I don't want to say like Bryan had that come to Jesus moment, but you know how you guys all are. You would, tell your friends or parents something that you wouldn't not naturally talk to, about anybody else. And I wonder if Kohberger did do this, if there was a conversation in that car, like, hey, I did something bad, or I might be wrapped up in something. It's just that curiosity, wanting to be that fly on the wall in that car and what the conversations were, because I just find it funny that his dad immediately defaulted right away and was like, hey, did you hear about, it almost seemed like a deflective tactic. It was really interesting, but I don't know what you guys think about that, if I'm getting anywhere with you guys. But looks like BC pulled up an article here. Let me pull that. Let's see. Okay, hang on one second. Let's we'll come back to the search warrant. Let's pull up what BC. I think this is about the Gonsalves family saying that the prosecutor was leaking information. Okay, so we have from KXLY.com, Spokane is saying, let's see, Gonsalves family attorney accused Idaho prosecutor of leaking information on February 28, 2023. Moscow, Idaho attorney representing the family of one of the University of Idaho murder victims accused the prosecutor in the case of leaking information. Shannon Gray made the accusations in court hearing in January. The hearing was held in chambers, meaning it was not open to the court, and the information was previously sealed. Monday, the judge in the case unsealed a summary of what happened. Wow. The judge in this case told the attorneys that the proposed hang on a second. Let me just bring this down so I don't have to tilt my neck up. What did I do? Hang on, guys. Sorry. Let's do this. Okay, perfect. I'm not cranking my neck up looking up because I have another screen up here. Let's see. The judge in the case told the attorneys that the proposal of the meeting was in response to what she had been seeing and hearing from media sources. The November murder of Kaylee Gonzalez, Ethan Chapman, Madison Mogen, and Xana Kernodle made headlines around the world. The judge said she had been trying to ignore the coverage because she will be presiding over the preliminary hearings. She advised them not to speak to the media and said they needed to advise their clients about concerns with publicly sharing information. She told them that if they violated a non-dismissal order, she will have to either find them in contempt of the order and or report their actions to the Idaho State Bar. Wow. Shannon Gray, who lives in Oregon, has been representing the Gonzalez family and has been interviewing on their behalf before the gag order was put in place. Let me get a sip of water here. He's arguing that he should be exempt from the order and he's not represented the state or the defendant by Bryan Kohberger. In the hearing, another attorney said he's representing someone could be a witness in this case. The attorney name and the potential witness name are both redacted. Wow. Hey, man, BC, good call out, man. I didn't even see this. Also in the hearing, Gray said he believes the Latah County Prosecutor's Office is leaking information about what's in the probable cause document, which would violate the court's order. Prosecutor Bill Thompson denies the allegation, saying that the state is concerned about the ability to impanel an impartial jury in what has been incredibly high-profile case. Gray told the court he thinks it's unreasonable to think that the court will find any jury in the U.S. who hasn't heard of the case. This is probably true. I mean, they did it in the O.J. Simpson trial, and that was a big case. That was a huge case. Everybody heard about that. And, they did it. So it can be done. It's just going to take a long time to find a jury. He says the client, Stephen Gonzalez, kept the story alive during the investigation and that he comments helped in the investigation overall. You have to keep in mind, too, Stephen was talking a lot. He was talking a lot, too, and he knew a lot of information, inside information, and he was saying a lot of stuff. So until he got shut down. Gray had asked the court to reconsider whether he is subject to the gag order. I mean, he was very critical of the Moscow Police Department. He was very critical of all the investigation. Chief Fry. I mean, he was killing everybody when he was going on, nightly news and talking about it. And listen, I get it. Your daughter has been brutally murdered, and you have to be the voice for her. I mean, I understand that. Judge Marshall said in the week that could depend on the outcome of the similar case in which the media organizations have asked Idaho Supreme Court to step in and consider the gag order. Wow. Great finding that, man. Appreciate that. So let's bring this up really quick. I'm missing the chat. Sorry, guys. So SC is probably going back. She said, I totally agree. It was a panic answer. And I think that's why Bryan was looking at him like that. And then BC says, I agree, SC as well. And SC, Kristen says she agrees as well. Yeah, I mean, and that's why I keep going back. And you have to start thinking like, did his dad know something? Was he telling his father, like, look, I don't know if he said maybe the full details, but maybe he said, hey, I'm in trouble. I got into some trouble. Maybe Bryan was acting weird and out of sense. And his father was like, hey, what's going on? You're acting weird. Or, I'd love to be a fly on the wall in that car. Or maybe just, he just shut down completely and didn't say anything on that long ride back. But he looked pretty panicked. When the police rolled up. So let's continue through with the search warrant. So we left off at clothing. Where are we? 204. One Asus laptop with damage. We got through that. One item photographed and not taken. A note in the desk. Interesting. criminal psychology book, and documents of DeSales University notebook. All right. We're going to go down to page number 3. They took an extra large Columbia Navy fleece, a man's world drawing. That's interesting. ID cards inside glove box. So this might be the car. This is going to probably be the car. ID cards inside glove box. Inside glove, inside box. I don't know what that means. Various criminology books, notes, license, and card. A dark colored hat. Black gloves. Seagate Barracuda 1 terabyte Samsung solid state drive. They're going to have a lot of digital forensics to go through. Black box, Samsung inbox, 2 pairs of black gloves, 1 black knit hat. Someone loves a lot of black gloves and black knit hats. Dark green shorts, sleeve shirt, black long sleeve shirt, black sweatshirt, gray jacket, 2 pairs of black pants, 1 pair of black jeans, 2 pairs of black jeans. 2 black long sleeve shirts, 2 pair of black pants, 1 gray jacket, 1 gray knit, 1 felt hat, and 1 black glove. We got a motherboard that they took, a Washington State University paperwork, a note from Bryan from Montana, Craftsman shop vac, medical documents, and court documents. Court documents. Interesting. Court documents. On to page 404. So a note from dad to Bryan. That's interesting. Maroon colored spiral notebook, dark colored clothes, an HP all-in-one computer, another laptop. A lot of laptops and computers. This got a lot of laptops and computers. Another desktop that was taken. Dark clothes in a laundry basket. A Taylor cutlery, I'll get that word out, knife, and a leather sheath. And then it looks like they took some swabbings. S1, S2, S3, S4. You have 2 pairs of dark colored boots and 1 pair of brown boots. So that's what they took, guys. And then nothing follows here. They kind of just blocked that off. So no additional information can be wrote. I need to know who Montana is, ASP. Yeah, who's this Montana? Yeah, and that's what completely stuck out to me when I'm like, who's Montana? Who is Montana? That's going to be the next video that all the crime people put up. Who is Montana? Who's Montana? I want to know who Montana is. Not Tony Montana. BC says, kind of gross. Prosecutors do it pretty much every time in high profile cases. Profile must win cases. Yeah, it happens. So you see Michael F. Kohberger's Jr.'s signature there. And let's see, I'm not going to read the address to the house. And I urge anybody in this chat, do not harass anybody at that address. Do not harass any of the family members that are in this document. I don't want anybody going there. I don't want anybody calling or harassing or showing up at their house. That's not what we do here on this stream. And, so I'm just trying to go through here. So it looks like they basically were looking for blood or all the bodily fluids or materials or items with blood or any bodily fluids, materials in it or not on them. So this basically was the same stuff that was in the previous document yesterday that I read out. So nothing really new in the sense of that, but that Montana is very, very interesting. Who is Montana? And it's just going to go through basically details of the case, and we're going to see the probable cause affidavit that is attached to this as well. We've already read through all of this and seen it. I just want to see if there's anything at the end that possibly we have missed. Nope. That's about it. Hey, let's see. Let's go up to the chats real quick. Dr. Bob says, interesting that most vegans won't wear or carry leather. It's very true. Kristen says, Dr. Bob, it seems like a strict one. And Crazy P is new. Hey, Crazy, how are you? Hope you subscribe to that channel. Make sure you hit the bell notification. And we're going to go up here and look at the poll. We're going to give the results. Whoa, 100% want me to call it the like button. Crazy, if you could do me a favor, go down and smash that like button. Oh, that sounds nice, doesn't it? Let's smash the like button. Smash that like button. All right. Welcome, Crazy P. We appreciate that. Oh, by the way, I forgot to do this really quick. I went in tonight and I looked. We have a new number. We have a new number. You said my goal was what? 5,000 by the end of the year. Let's see. We're going to scratch off the number here. We are at 2,204 subs. So we picked up a few since last night's show. 5,000 is my goal for the year. Hey, Crazy, thank you so much. Crazy says, I subbed and liked. I love that. And BC says, like button, laugh out loud. And BC's also saying his family has also been devastated. Any ill-fated comments towards them is nonsense. Absolutely, because this is tragic all around, especially for that family. You know, the communities, the families of the victims, I've said that all along. This just destroys families when things like this happen. And you go back and you look at just what happened in the Alec Murdaugh trial. You know, I just said that today. I mean, his son now has to live like that the rest of his life, his surviving son. You know, it's going to affect the relatives, the friends, the other family members, the community, you know, all this stuff. And it's just tragic all around. You know, murder affects everybody. And I'm going to talk about that on Sunday evening of my friend that I lost in 1994 to murder. I did a lot of preparation for the show today. I was actually up at my local Staples scanning in, you know, old newspaper. I have newspapers. Hang on. I'll grab those real quick. Give me a second. I'm not going to show too much too quick because I did redact the names in the articles. I literally was going through today on the digital scans and redacting the names. But so, you know, these are unfortunately the memories I have of it. But we'll go through this on Sunday and we'll talk about that. But that's the headline right there. So something to go through, and I really been kind of digging, you know, through my memory bank because a lot of it's been suppressed over the years. And this happened in 1994. So, you know, a long time ago. And it's going to take me a lot to dig through those memories. And I'm just going to kind of tell you his story and kind of what led up to, you know, what happened. And I've been through it. I've been through, a friend being murdered. My half brother committed suicide quite a few years ago. So I've been through a lot of those very close connection tragedies in life. So, you know, I feel for these families. I feel for these victims. And, you know, it's crazy. It's crazy emotions sometimes. So, Kristen says that's what is the next Greta. So, short show this evening, guys. I just wanted to jump in because obviously we had the Murdaugh verdict. I wanted to read the newly unsealed search warrant. Interesting stuff. There's a lot of key stuff, you know, that are items that are going to be processed. Maybe some DNA gets found on it. Maybe some doesn't. I'm curious to know who this Montana is. So I'm sure that's probably floating around right now. I'll see what I can dig up on that, if anything, and obviously report back. I will be back on, when's my next schedule? Let me look. I think I got a schedule tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you guys want to set, I'm just banging out the streams. We're going to talk East Palestine, Ohio. What the hell is going on there? We'll get into some rants and politics on that one. And of course, my kind of personal story on Sunday night. You're not going to want to miss that. 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The schedule's already up. You guys just have to go over, click into them, hit reminder. Make sure that you guys have your bell notifications turned on as well too. So again, really short stream this evening. I just want to pop in really quick with you guys on this Thursday, just give you an update of what was going on in the true crime world. And yeah, we'll be back here tomorrow night on, let's see, BC's got a chat. I just wait for it to come up so I can pull it up. Don't forget about us 1%ers when you have 1,000K subs, Hollywood. Yeah, man, it's I will never forget the people that were here from the beginning. You guys are the ones that come here all the time when I'm here on the stream, and don't think that I don't forget you guys. I appreciate it, because I'm sure there could be many, many other things that you could be doing, but it makes me feel good that you guys would come over and take an hour out of your lives, out of someone that you've never even met in your entire life, to come over and enjoy my programming. And an hour to an hour and a half, sometimes I do 2 hours, to spend that time over here and chatting. And it's like, you kind of feel sometimes it's great. I see Kristen a lot. I see BC, I see SC, very consistent people. Dr. Bob, V has been in the chat a lot. We have, a new person, Crazy P, is in here, and Teresa's here on a regular basis. So it's, you guys all kind of become family, and I don't forget the little screen names or the little photos, and they kind of get burned into your memory, memory bank. And it feels good when I can come over here and see you guys come on. And you're my regulars, and you guys will always be my regulars, and I will never forget about any of you guys. So yeah, I get Greta up here. How dare you? But hey, I just got to keep cranking out the content, getting into that algorithm. The only way I can do that is if you guys keep smashing that like button and coming over and interacting on the videos, because it's the most important thing. But we'll keep growing the channel. I will listen to all of you and make the content that you guys want to see. We'll go from there. But early night tonight, I'm going to shut it down here. It's getting close to about 10 o'clock on the East Coast here. And I'll be back tomorrow night. If you guys want to spend Friday night with me, we're going to talk East Palestine, that the chemical spill there, everything that's going on. And it's crazy. And I am just pissed off about how this is all being handled. There's a lot of people getting sick over there, but we'll get into it tomorrow. And I will see you guys then. Good night, everybody. SC, good night. Dr. Bob says good night. I appreciate all of you. Thank you for the super chats. Kristen, thank you so much. Thank you for being a channel member. Listen, guys, I have merch available. I have coffee cups and t-shirts. If you're interested in it, you can just click into one of my videos and order a coffee mug or shirt. I have some samples coming. Should be here in about a week or so. I'll get those on air so you guys can take a look at them. But hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow night. If not, Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll see you all then. Anything pops up, guys, I'll let you know. You know I always do. Have a good night. Bye.